Hi boys and girls, it's Jilly. It's Wednesday, so it's time for art class. It's V-Day in our ABC countdown, and today is our last Wednesday art class of the school year. Can you believe it? Because it's V-Day, we're going to study an artist that I love very much. His name is Van Gogh. Actually, his name is Vincent Van Gogh. One of his most famous paintings is called Starry Night. So here's his name, Van Gogh, and it's called Starry Night. There's a really great book called Katie and the Starry Night by James Mayhew, and it's all about this painting. Get ready, put on your artist eyes. Take a look at how Van Gogh made the swirls of the wind and the stars in his painting. There's a nice picture. Katie and Grandma loved to go on trips together. Sometimes for a treat, Grandma took Katie to the art gallery. One day they went to see some paintings by Vincent Van Gogh. Katie's favorite was called The Starry Night. "It looks magical," she said, "like a dream." "Talking of dreams," said Grandma, "I could do with a nap." Katie looked more closely at the picture. The stars seemed to be moving. Grandma was almost asleep, so Katie quietly climbed through the picture frame and into the painting. There it is. Do you see the picture of the man? That's called a self-portrait of Vincent Van Gogh. There's the Starry Night. This one's called Sunflowers. The dazzling stars sparkled and swirled. They looked close enough to touch, so Katie reached out and grasped one. "I must show Grandma," she said, putting the star safely in her pocket. Look at the swirls of the wind. And the moon looks like it's glowing, and the stars look like they're glowing. If you look carefully around the stars, boys and girls, you'll see that Van Gogh used little tiny broken lines around them to make them look like they were glowing and twinkling. Jumping back into the gallery, Katie saw some other stars twirling after her. "Perhaps they want to play," she laughed, jumping up to catch them, but she couldn't quite reach. I need something to stand on," said Katie. She saw a picture called Vincent's Chair. "That's perfect," she smiled. Katie quickly dragged the chair out of the picture as more and more stars tumbled into the gallery. But even standing on the chair, Katie couldn't reach all the stars, and some floated into another picture called Noon. She decided to chase after them and so climbed through the frame. A young couple were napping in the shade on a hot summer's day. The stars tumbled into the sky and night soon fell upon the countryside. Do you see more broken lines, boys and girls? That was one of Vincent Van Gogh's favorite ways to paint, with small, short lines. The woman, whose name was Marie, woke up. "Oh, look at all the stars," she said. "Surely they don't belong in this painting." No," said Katie. "Would you help me catch them?" Climbing up the haystack, Katie and Marie had a wonderful time jumping to catch the stars and landing in the soft hay. But when they jumped back into the gallery, the spinning stars slipped through their fingers once again. "We must get them back in their painting before the gallery guard sees they're missing," says Marie. But even Marie wasn't tall enough to catch them. "Look, there's a ladder," said Katie, spotting a picture called The Olive Grove. She quickly clambered through the frame. Women were gathering olives from a tree. "Please, can I borrow your ladder?" asked Katie. "I have to catch some stars." The ladies laughed. "Ma chérie, you cannot catch stars." "You can with a ladder," said Katie. Come and help me." They all raced back into the gallery, and the olive pickers held the ladder steady as Katy climbed up to catch the twirling stars. It was tricky work because the stars wouldn't keep still. The more Katy tried to catch them, the more they spun away. Do you see how the stars are twirling around in the art gallery? The stars were drifting toward another painting called Fishing Boats on the Beach. "Come on, we must catch them," said Marie. They all climbed inside the painting. In the picture, the stars were caught on a breeze and twirled out to sea. "How will we reach them now?" asked Marie. "Let's take a boat," said Katy. "Oh, yes, a boat ride," said the olive pickers, giggling. They sailed across the sea as the stars sparkled in the sky. "Oh, what shall we do?" worried Marie. "The stars are so high." Katy saw a big fishing net in the boat. "Let's try this," she said. They all threw the net as high as they could and caught the stars. "At last," said Katy as everyone cheered. Back in the gallery, they all quickly ran to the Starry Night picture. "Now we can put the stars back before the guard finds out," said Katy. They threw the stars into the sky, but it didn't look quite right. "What's that in your pocket, Katy?" asked Marie. "My star," said Katy. "I wanted to show it to Grandma." "But it might float away again," said Marie. "Put it in the Starry Night, and then you can see it whenever you want." So Katy threw the star up into the painting. "Thank you, everyone," said Katy. "We did it." There's the Starry Night all back together. "And now we must return to our pictures too," said Marie. "Au revoir, ma chérie." "Goodbye," called Katy. Katy put the chair back where it belonged just in time as the gallery guard came past. "Phew," said Katy. "Hello." "Good afternoon," he said. And then Grandma woke up. "Oh, I must have nodded off," she said. "I had a lovely dream about stars." Katy giggled. That night, Katy and Grandma looked out of the window. It was a beautiful starry night. "The stars look almost alive," said Grandma. "Perhaps they are," laughed Katy. Grandma smiled. "Perhaps," she said. "Good night, Katy." The end. I hope you enjoyed that book, and I hope you used your artist eyes to look at the stars and the wind. And now we're going to learn about making our own painting. We're going to use some oil pastels first to draw the background. We're going to draw the ground. Then we're going to do our stars and our moon and our wind, and very last, the special cypress tree. The first thing you will need is some oil pastels. I'm going to use the yellow, the light blue, the dark blue, the black, and the white. The first thing I'm going to do, boys and girls, is put the screen down a little. I'm going to decide where I want my ground to be. If I look at this painting, I notice that there's some mountains. So I'm going to draw some mountains. Here I go. Down and around. Now that's called the horizon line. Everything down here is the ground. Everything up here is the sky. Next, I'm going to start using some of Van Gogh's broken lines to fill in the ground. I'm going to do some short lines coming down. Oh, I pushed a little hard and it broke. That's okay. Going down and down and down and down. Down and down and down and down. With my dark blue, I'm going to take a little purple to make it extra dark. There goes my purple in there. Down and down and down going to use my light blue, a little bit longer lines. Now I'm going to use my pointer finger and smudge. First I'll smudge along the horizon line, then I'll pull the color down. Do you see how it's starting to blend? Blending, 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 blending. I need some more light blue in here, so I'm going to do some more of those short lines. I'll show you what they look like. So it's not coloring like this. It's doing some short lines like this. I'm going to add some more dark blue. And this time I'm pushing really hard so those lines show up. That's what it's starting to look like, boys and girls. I might take a little bit of white to show a little bit of light on the horizon, maybe. The light that's glowing from the stars. You won't be able to see that one as much. So I'll take a little bit of light blue. And this time, instead of going down, I'm going across. This is just the horizon line. Do you see how I smooth that out? These are those mountains. Let's see, I think I might take a little bit more of the purple. And put in some dark blue with that. See what they look like first. And then when I take my finger to blend, and I go in the direction of the lines, there's my ground. Now I'm going to do the moon. If you notice in the painting, boys and girls, the moon, let's find our painting. The moon is a crescent moon, also a letter C. So I'm going to do that with my yellow. And I'm going to put it right up here. I start with a letter C. Do you see my C? Now I'm going to go back and make a point of the crescent moon, the point. They're a little bit like triangles at the end, and then connect them. There's my moon. I'm going to fill it in. Just like that. Great. I wanted to show you what the moon looks like close up in Van Gogh's painting. Let's see if I can find a good picture of the moon in the painting. Do you see how the moon looks a little bit like it's glowing? That's because there's lots of broken lines around it to help it glow. Okay, here we go with the broken lines. Little broken lines all the way around the moon. Here I go. Broken lines. And once you go around once, you can go around again. Around and 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 around. And you could even put some white in there. When we go over this with our watercolors, boys and girls, you remember watercolor and oil pastel don't mix. So, whatever whatever you do with oil pastel will show up underneath the watercolor. Here I go. I'm going to take a clean finger and do a little bit of smudging so that you can still see the broken lines, but the color is a little bit blended in. I don't want any watercolor getting close to my moon. I really want that to be so bright. There's my moon. Now, it's time for the stars. In the Starry Night, boys and girls, the stars don't look like the kind that we draw with points. They look like little dots of color. So guess what? I'm going to use our yellow oil pastel and do some dots of color. Let's see. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stars. You can do as many stars as you want. Then you put your broken lines around the stars. When you do one circle, you go back around and do another. And you can keep going and going and going and going. And the more broken lines you put around your stars, the more they look like they're glowing. You could use yellow. You can use white. I'm going to peel this just a little. This makes me think of Tegan. Tegan loves to take the paper off of oil pastels. Do you remember that, Tegan? Here we go. Round and around and around. Round and around and around. And I'm putting some white in with the yellow around and around and around. Around and around and around and around. See how it's starting to look? And here I go, here I go, here I go. Now, the next part is really fun, boys and girls, because we're going to use the white to make, I think I'll use the light blue to make the wind. The wind blows like this in Van Gogh's painting. There's a big bunch of wind, and here's some wind. Let's look at another one. Remember how the stars were blowing through the art gallery? Look at this, it's down and around and up, some swirl lines. So we're going to do some swirl lines up and around, up and around. I started with some blue. I'm going to take some white right on top of it. Nice and dark, pushing hard. And then I might take a little bit of the dark blue, lightly, and go back over it with the white, pushing really hard, boys and girls. Here we go. Next I'm going to blend it. There's the cat. Cat in the art lesson. Now he's sitting on the art. Okay, next is going to be the cypress tree. Here's the cypress tree, boys and girls. It's a very kind of tall and pointy tree. It almost looks like a triangle. Do you see that shape? So that's the last thing I'm going to do, and it's going up and up, ooh, and then down. Do you see my outline? And then I'm going to fill it in really dark because the cypress tree is like a shadow. It's kind of in the shadows And it's kind of a dark tree, so I'm filling it all in. Here I go. And I don't need to blend this one, boys and girls, because the black oil pastel is a pretty dark color and it blends itself. There's my cypress tree. Next is the watercolor. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. This was one I did earlier. Do you see I did broken lines and some wind? Remember, there's my horizon line. This is all the ground. So I'm going to paint the sky a nice blue. I'm going to use a little blue. Let's see. If we look at the Starry Night, there's lots of blue and a little bit maybe purple. Let's see what happens. Rub, rub, rub in the blue. Looks like we love blue for our watercolor projects, huh? Okay. If I paint over the stars, look, it still shines through. Do you see how it's still shining through? Get a little more water. Get a lot more blue. Oh, did you see how dark that was? Because I put my brush in the blue paint for a really long time. And I rub 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 and I rub. Ready? See how dark that is, boys and girls? So pretty. I'm going to see what happens if I take a little purple and blend it in with the blue. I think it'll be a darker blue. What do you think? Let's see. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I like that a lot. Right back in the purple so I don't need to wash my brush. Oh, look how nice and dark that is, boys and girls. I can even feel the oil pastel under my brush. I need a little more water. I'm going to keep going with my purple. Even though it looks like a blue sky, the purple is helping it to look so dark. Yeah, watch. Watch. See how it looks purple right now? Purple right now, but if I get my brush wet, and I take some blue paint now, and I go over the purple, look at that nice dark color we get. There's nice dark time color. Here we go. Wonder what would happen if we took a little bit of black paint. Let's see. Black is a super strong color. I'm going to take a little bit of black. This is an experiment. And put some right over here. I don't know, you guys. It's certainly very dark. I'm going to try a little bit more. Right down to the horizon line. Right down there. Now by itself, it doesn't look like a very dark color. Let's see if we mix a little of the blue in. Here we go. Wow, I'm almost out of blue. That's my favorite color for watercolor. I would say from my experiment that I don't like the black and blue as much as I like the purple and blue. So back into the water, back into that purple. And blend in the purple and the blue and the black. Now you really have a dark sky, you guys, and the stars are shining through. I'm going to try a wash. Do you remember what a wash is? We start with plain water. We get some paint. Ready for this? Drip, 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 drip. I'm going to blend it out. Do You see, the watercolor is not really going any much place right now, you guys, because there's so much wind oil pastel in there. Add some purple to make it darker. Here I go, making that sky so dark. And the last thing I have to do is right up by the moon. Lots of blue. Here I go, painting by the moon. And I might even take a smidge of purple and blend it in. And you guys, dun, 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 there is my Starry Night painting. I hope you like it. And I hope you have fun painting like Vincent Van Gogh. Now, Vincent Van Gogh didn't use watercolor. But since you all have watercolors at home, I thought you might like it. I hope you have fun.